The Seeker. It was so dark out there, and my childish mind still feared the creatures I couldn't see. I noticed a street lamp illuminating a sanctuary of safety with its warm light. I leant against the pole and felt a cold limb touch my shoulder. Its face split open, and it spoke.
"Thanks for moving into that light. I never would have found you in that darkness."
The Seeker is one of the rare creatures we have on record that's actually more dangerous in the daytime. This is because it can only sense objects touched by light. Once it does, it can rapidly move to the object in question and rapidly consume it. It's also pretty inscrutable. From prior encounters with agents, we know that bullets, flamethrowers and poison have all failed to actually kill the creature. Wound it to the point of retreat, yes, but actually killing it has yet to be done. When wounded, the Seeker will retreat and enter a healing hibernation. The Seeker is a recently discovered creature, seen in the early 2010s. Its behaviour and hunting tendencies suggest that it may have been around for much longer than we presume. We've only caught sight of it due to a victim recording a video podcast with their phone and keeping the camera rolling until it ran out of memory. The Seeker likes to appear at the edge of the victim's vision, just at the edge of the victim's blind spot. Not much, but enough to make people panic that they saw something inhuman in the corner of their eye. As they turn, it moves with the turn and gets closer and larger. At a distance, it resembles a blur with a red splash of colour. As it gets closer and closer, it starts to resemble a skeleton with a large mask for a head. Not a human-looking skeleton either. The proportions are off. The head is too large and the bones look like they're rotting. What it wants, what it needs, is for the person to get scared. Scared enough to run. So it can chase. So it can seek after them. If the person is lucky, they'll encounter the Seeker at night, because it can't see in darkness at all. Whatever isn't illuminated might as well not exist to the Seeker. So street lamps, headlights and, in the case of the footage that let us discover it, cell phone illumination. As long as there's enough light to highlight enough of an object, the Seeker can see it, move to it, and attack from almost any angle. It moves without sound when moving from light source to light source. And when it does speak, there's a buzzing-like backdrop to its voice. Even though it speaks like a human, it's best not to engage it in conversation. Everything it does is done to reach its goal of consuming its victim. Trying to reason with it will not work. It will pretend to be rational, to be fair, but it's all a deception. All it wants to do is kill and eat. If a person catches the Seeker's attention during the day, they are in a much more dangerous situation. Because in the daylight, there are nearly unlimited places to move and ambush from. There are far fewer darkened areas for a person to hide in, and even then, with the sun constantly moving, so too are the shadows. Shadows aren't enough to blind its vision completely. Just dim it enough that the Seeker will be inaccurate with its chase. If caught during the day, it's advisable to find a tunnel, a sewer entrance, or make your way into a building without windows as soon as possible. If a person escapes to a building, they should close and lock the doors, turn off the lights, and make sure it's so dark you can't even see your own hand in front of your face. Even a sliver of light will let the Seeker in, bypassing locked doors and windows. Then you'll be trapped with a monster that will take its time as long as that sliver exists. So darkness is your best hope. One wise survivor who was preyed upon during the day by the Seeker managed to avoid it by taking a blanket and jumping into a pile of leaves, covering themselves as they did so. They were lucky that the pile was dense enough and the blanket thick enough that it was completely dark for them. So even though the Seeker passed by them several times, it couldn't actually see them. It eventually gave up when the sun set and moved on to look for more targets. Attempts to capture the Seeker have failed. It remains at large.